in today's video, I just wanted to briefly touch on the ways in which a slow or Vilambit gut might transition into a fast or a Drut gut. Now, I'm going to be proposing a certain fashion in which the transition can be made, as well as just talking a little bit about the general tendency. Now, not everybody plays both a slow and fast composition, or sings a slow and fast composition, within the rendition of a raga, but many people do. And so, as far as I understand, there's no hard and fast rule as to how to transition. I'm simply going to propose my my sort of individual style, or if you want to say my preferred method of doing this. And again, the point is really not to lose, to keep from losing that sense of the sum, or you might think of it as a downbeat. And again, maybe this is sort of my Western-oriented, or sort of Western compositional mind at work here, where I'm trying to order things perhaps a little more than is traditional in Indian music, but I think it's a nice opportunity to add one's personal touch. Relatedly, I have been looking at various ways to link the sections of the alap and through the composition and the final jala section. So again, this is a nice way to explore if if any of you are interested in sort of putting your little stamp on playing raga, singing raga. There are definitely ways in which all of these things can be flexible. Of course, it's going to depend on teachers and Quranas and sort of the rules of teachers and Quranas. So, what I propose here in the context of just the composition, again, the other sections can be addressed at other times. What I'm trying to do here is keep that sense of sum, as I've said. Now, just to provide some points of contrast, Hari Prasad Chaureza, he in his rendition of Vrindavani Sarang, is out on YouTube. He transitions from a slower jop tal composition into a faster teen tal composition. The way in which that happens around 22 minutes in this particular recording. I'll link to it in the description. And that happens at about 22 minutes. If you put the recorder 20 to 22 minutes, you'll see what I'm talking about. He ends up finishing off the slow composition with a T-high, and then after that final sum of the slow composition begins the gut, and then of course the composition in teen-tal. So there isn't really that. In other words, the sum of the slow jop tal happens, and then less than 10 beats later. Right, so there's sort of that break in the series of sum. Not that that's a problem. Who am I to critique much more experienced and respected and influential musicians in that sense. But so again, none of the scope of, in no way does it fit here to interpret my views as to be overly harsh or critiques, or I'm not saying that these people are doing anything wrong. Obviously, this is simply my solution to make that sum constant, to keep it to keep that sense of meter a little more strictly. So another example. So one example from Hari Prasad Chareza. Another example is Nikhil Banerjee and Ali Akbar Khan, and they are doing it's under Rag Bhairavi, but I believe it probably should be classified as a Sindhu Bhairavi, but it's a Jogobandi composition performance on YouTube as well. What happens there is that there's sort of this break in the composition playing, and there's kind of a speeding up of the tempo, just kind of a break, and then a few lines, like kind of a mini alap, not really, but it's just kind of a space between the end of the slow composition, and then as the fast composition starts, there isn't really that kind of cohesion, and that's what I'm going for here. So if you listen, I play this composition in jap tal. So that last three beats leading up to sum in jap tal kind of morphs into the gut leading into sum in the fast teen tal. So it's da da 1 2 and 3 and 1 2. That's Kali, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Right? That's sum in jap tal. 1 and 2 and 3. So it fits into jap tal. That sum is still there. 1 and 2. So 1 and 2. 2 3 4 1. So you have to sort of superimpose or overlap the lead in to the sum in teen tal. In jap tal, it works, but of course the point is that you're changing from jap tal to teen tal. So so 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. That would be jap tal. 1 and 2. So that second beat is like the first beat of the last tal in teen tal. So 1 and 1 2 and 3 and 1 2 1 and 1 2 3 4 1. Right, so 1 2 3 4 1. Da da drop tal. 1 2 3 and 1 2 1 and 2 and 3 and right. 1 2 3 1 2 1 and 1 2 3 4 1. So I've doubled the tempo. The tempo is double. The beat is doubled. Moving from jap tal to teen tal, and there's still that sense of that sum comes as you'd expect it in jap tal. So there really isn't that kind of gap where people were trying to look around and figure out what to do next, sort of thing. That's my kind of point here for the moment, is that it's simply a way to make the whole rendition of the raga a little more tight, a little more put together, as opposed to kind of haphazard. Again, not that I'm claiming this to be in any way, shape, or form the right way. It's simply a way to add one's kind of little style, a little bit of and for me, I've looked at the various sections of the alap and onward into the composition and final jala, and how to measure tempo changes and where to show some of alap and so on, in a way that divides the whole rendition into a nice kind of proportional harmony, so to speak, and kind of have that plan so that you are improvising, but there's a bit of a framework that, and this is not in no way, shape, or form again a finished project, but the goal ultimately is going to be that the rendition of a raga takes on that not crystallized, but that sturdy sort of foundation that is meaningful in a deeper sense. For example, the sort of the tripartite godhead that we see traditionally in not only Hinduism but also clearly Catholicism. That's the central one. As far as I understand, there was a strong influence from Hinduism to Islam actually as well. There's something to be said for that three-part sort of God, and I think the more we can invite that into our lives via music, especially, the more we start to interact with the history of why this music is set up the way it is, and what the original intentions were. So again, just to cap off here, you'll hear the transition into teen tal, fast teen tal from the slow jap tal.